General Hospital teaser developments of the week from 19 to May 23, 2025. Just like Nina once found herself in the center of a storm of secrets, lies, and emotional upheaval, Willow is now quietly approaching a similar crossroads in her life. As the nurses' ball approaches, a traditionally glamorous event masking the chaos simmering beneath, there are whispers that Willow may soon find herself caught in a whirlwind of revelations she never anticipated. Despite her calm exterior and relentless attempts to build a peaceful future with Michael and her children, a lingering sense of dread clings to her. Deep down, Willow can feel that something isn't right, as though the walls she's so carefully built are about to crumble. Her recent conversations with Drew have been strained, and there are moments when she catches him avoiding her gaze or changing the subject, making her wonder what secrets are being kept just out of reach. Meanwhile, Emma is fighting her own battles with a fire that few in Port Charles have seen before. Driven by frustration and a deep sense of injustice, she becomes convinced that Jocelyn deliberately sabotaged her shot at becoming a research assistant, accusing her of intellectual theft. Emma has worked tirelessly to prove herself, and the idea that someone she once trusted might have betrayed her drives her to the edge. She gathers every scrap of evidence she can find, emails, lab notes, even timelines, and begins to build a case against Jocelyn, all the while fighting off the emotional weight of feeling invisible, unrecognized, and replaced. Her obsession with uncovering the truth borders on desperation, and she begins to alienate even those who care about her. Jocelyn, on the other hand, finds herself cornered, blindsided by Emma's accusations and unsure how to defend herself against allegations she insists are false. For a moment, she wonders if this is retribution for past mistakes or the result of Emma's envy. But as the whispers grow louder, Jocelyn realizes she has no choice but to fight back. With Vaughn by her side, she starts to uncover inconsistencies in Emma's story and explores hidden motives that might have prompted such a calculated attack. Vaughn's unwavering support offers Jocelyn the strength she needs, not only to reclaim her reputation but also to reassert control over a narrative that threatens to spiral beyond her grasp. His quiet loyalty becomes her anchor as she navigates the emotional minefield ahead. The drama takes a sharp turn as the nurses' ball begins to unfold, and tensions across Port Charles reach a fever pitch. Secrets long buried begin to surface, not just for Willow or Jocelyn, but for many others who thought the past was safely locked away. The opulent ballroom becomes the setting for more than just performances. It becomes a battlefield of whispered accusations, piercing stares, and calculated smiles hiding deep wounds. Behind the scenes, rivalries brew, alliances form in the shadows, and betrayals threaten to erupt under the weight of unresolved tension. For every dazzling dress and choreographed routine, there is a carefully concealed truth waiting to explode. As the week progresses, unexpected alliances begin to form. Jocelyn and Vaughn find themselves not only bonded by adversity but also drawn to a deeper emotional connection that neither of them anticipated. In contrast, Emma becomes increasingly isolated, even as she believes she's nearing the breakthrough she so desperately seeks. Her refusal to back down begins to cost her friendships, including a key supporter who starts to question whether Emma's crusade has become more about vengeance than justice. Willow, who initially tried to stay on the sidelines, finds herself pulled into the center of the conflict when a cryptic message suggests her own past might be more intertwined with current events than she ever imagined. By the time the week of May 19th to 23rd draws to a close, the emotional stakes have escalated beyond anything anyone could have predicted. The nurses' ball, once seen as a night of light and laughter, ends with a sense of dread hanging over the crowd. Whispers of betrayal echo through the hallways of General Hospital, and multiple lives are left hanging in the balance. For Willow, a sudden confrontation threatens to unravel her carefully guarded sense of peace. For Jocelyn, a final shocking reveal could either vindicate her or destroy her public image forever. And for Emma, the obsession with exposing the truth might leave her standing alone in a room full of people who no longer trust her. In the aftermath, the citizens of Port Charles are left to pick up the pieces of relationships fractured, reputations challenged, and long-standing truths brought into question. The fallout is messy, emotional, and far-reaching. While some cling to newfound clarity, others retreat into denial. The emotional reckoning leaves Willow looking over her shoulder, unsure whom to trust, and Jocelyn determined to rewrite the narrative Emma tried to bury her under. And though the nurses' ball may be over, the impact of its secrets will ripple through Port Charles for weeks to come, proving once again that nothing ever stays hidden for long in this town. During the week of May 19th to 23rd, chaos threatens to explode in Port Charles as the glitz of the nurses' ball becomes the perfect storm for long-buried secrets to resurface and destroy lives in the process. At the heart of this looming storm is Dante, whose world is about to be shattered by a revelation no one, least of all him, saw coming. Just as he navigates his usual responsibilities during the event, he's completely unaware that Lulu, his former love, has been quietly and methodically gathering the final pieces of a devastating puzzle. With every document she's uncovered, every timeline she's reconstructed, Lulu becomes more certain. Giovanni, better known to everyone as Gio, is not just a talented violinist lighting up the stage at the ball. He is Dante's biological son. Lulu's determination to find the truth has been fueled by a quiet fury and a deep sense of moral responsibility. Her discovery, though shocking, isn't the kind of secret she's willing to bury. She knows what it will mean, for Brook Lynn, for Dante, for Gio, but she also believes the truth must come out, no matter the emotional consequences. For days, she's wrestled with how and when to say it. And as the spotlight beams down on Gio performing his breathtaking violin solo, Lulu's heart pounds with the weight of what's about to be exposed. She knows this performance might not only be Joe's breakout moment but also the beginning of the end for Dante's fragile piece. Dante, completely in the dark, watches the show with a mix of pride and detachment. He sees Joe's talent but doesn't suspect the deeper connection forming right before his eyes. As Lulu edges closer to revealing the truth, Brook Lynn stands nearby, unaware that her past is about to collide with her present in the most public and emotionally shattering way imaginable. For years, she had buried the pain of giving up a child, carrying that wound in silence and guilt. Seeing Gio on stage fills her with pride, confusion, and a haunting sense of déjà vu. The resemblance, the mannerisms, the emotion in his playing, suddenly, it all makes sense. The realization strikes her like a thunderclap. The boy she loved from afar is her son. As the music crescendos, Brook Lynn's emotions reach a breaking point. Her eyes well with tears, and she barely manages to stay on her feet. The crowd may assume she's simply moved by the beauty of the moment, but inside, her world is spinning. She now understands that her past decisions, however justified at the time, are about to cost her more than she ever anticipated. The boy she once lost is now standing before her, unknowingly tethered to both her and Dante by blood and history. And in mere minutes, that truth will come roaring into the open, forever altering the course of their lives. When the final note fades and applause erupts, Lulu takes a step forward, prepared to unleash the truth that could ignite the room. In that moment, the nurses' ball shifts from a celebration of hope to the epicenter of heartbreak. Dante, who had always prided himself on control and order, is blindsided. The look on his face is one of disbelief, followed by a deep, painful recognition as he processes the unthinkable. He has a son. One who has been living in Port Charles, right under his nose. The betrayal he feels toward Brook Lynn is immediate and scorching. His voice may not rise in that instant, but his eyes, filled with hurt and confusion, speak volumes. Brook Lynn, trembling and barely able to breathe, tries to explain, but how does one justify years of silence? How does one mend a wound that never had the chance to scar over properly? Dante's questions come fast and furious. Why didn't she tell him? Did she ever plan to? And most of all, how could she let him go through life without knowing he had a child? There are no answers that can make the pain go away, no explanation that can erase the sting of being kept in the dark. Brook Lynn's tears are genuine, but so is Dante's fury, and now their fractured connection teeters on the edge of complete destruction. Gio, unaware of the explosion occurring behind the curtain of applause and spotlight, basks in the joy of a performance well received. But the whispers begin quickly, spreading like wildfire. The name, Falconeri, echoes in shocked murmurs across the room. And when Gio learns the truth, that the woman who has been silently watching him and the man who's suddenly staring at him with such intensity are his parents, the foundation of his identity begins to shake. The truth was meant to set him free, but in this moment, it threatens to imprison him in emotional chaos. Questions flood his mind. not only about who he is but why this was hidden from him for so long. In the aftermath, the nurses' ball is no longer remembered for its performances or glamour but for the emotional earthquake that rocked the stage and audience alike. Dante walks away from the event not only stunned but changed, with a heart full of anger, grief, and questions about how to reconnect with a son he never knew existed. Brook Lynn is left to pick up the shattered pieces of a truth she had hoped would never come out like this. And Gio, caught between the echoes of music and the thunder of revelation, must now decide whether to embrace this new identity or run from it. What was meant to be a night of celebration has become a crucible of truth, and no one in Port Charles will walk away untouched. While chaos and confrontation ripple through the core of Port Charles during the emotionally charged week of May 19th to 23rd, the story of Jordan and Isaiah unfolds with a quiet intensity of its own, one filled with longing, regret, and the ache of what might have been. In the shadows of grandeur and spectacle, Jordan finds herself stealing a moment of vulnerability with Isaiah, a man who once held her heart and perhaps still does. As their eyes meet, there's an unspoken understanding between them, something unbreakable yet constantly out of reach. They share a stolen kiss, tender and hesitant, like a final note of a song that was never fully sung. For just a brief second, they forget the pressure, the responsibilities, and the mistakes that drove them apart. In that fragile, secret moment, they simply exist, two people caught between duty and desire. But reality is never far behind in Port Charles. The ghost of Jen Sidwell looms like a storm cloud over Jordan's fragile reprieve. Her singular obsession with bringing down Sidwell has cost her more than just professional peace. It has driven a wedge between her and Isaiah that may never be fully repaired. She chose the mission over the man, and now she wonders if that choice was worth the emptiness she carries. Still, Jordan can't shake the feeling that Sidwell is watching, waiting, always 2 steps ahead. If he were to witness that quiet exchange between her and Isaiah, there's no doubt he would twist it into a weapon. Because for Sidwell, everything is leverage, and emotions are simply weak points to exploit. At the same time, Curtis is watching his world begin to unravel from a different corner of the battlefield. His connection to Portia has been strained for some time, but his instincts tell him something darker is at play. As he confronts her, the questions burn between them. Why is she so invested in Drew? What's driving her unwavering support for a man whose motives have become increasingly murky? Portia, cornered and struggling to maintain the image of control, must now make an impossible choice: tell Curtis the truth about Drew's manipulations and risk destroying her carefully crafted life, or continue the lie and hope it never comes back to destroy her. Curtis isn't just demanding clarity, he's demanding loyalty. And Portia knows the longer she waits, the deeper the damage will run. She tries to justify her silence, recalling all the times Drew has used half-truths and charisma to pull people into his orbit. But Curtis won't accept vague answers, not anymore. He has watched too many good people fall because of secrets and schemes, and he refuses to stand by while another storm brews unchecked. Portia's hands shake as she begins to admit that Drew may have threatened her position, manipulated her fears, and used confidential knowledge as a weapon. If Curtis pushes harder, she may finally crack, but what will it cost? Elsewhere, Drew remains a calculated force moving through Port Charles like a phantom with a purpose. On the surface, he smiles, he plays the part, he comforts Willow, but behind closed doors, his ambition has darkened into something else entirely. Willow, still fragile from her recovery, leans on Drew in ways she doesn't fully understand. She sees in him a steady presence, someone who appears to care, someone who promises safety. But what she doesn't realize is that Drew's version of protection comes with invisible strings. He knows things about Michael, about Sonny, even about the past that Willow has tried so hard to leave behind. And yet Drew keeps secrets of his own, ones he guards fiercely, not just from the public but from Willow herself. As Curtis unravels the truth and Portia inches closer to confession, Drew senses the net closing in. But he's prepared. He always is. He's already taken precautions, erased trails, shifted blame. What he fears most isn't exposure, it's losing control. Willow represents more than just emotional comfort, she's a symbol of the power he's managed to cultivate. Should the truth come out, she could walk away, disillusioned and heartbroken. Or worse, she could become the very weapon that brings him down. And in that tangled web of power plays, secret kisses, forced silence, and emotional manipulation, Port Charles becomes the stage for a series of implosions waiting to happen. Jordan and Isaiah's fleeting kiss will not remain hidden forever. Sidwell's eyes are everywhere. Curtis will demand the full truth. Portia must finally decide whose side she's really on. And Drew, still smiling, still calculating, will soon find that the carefully constructed empire he's built on secrets is only one revelation away from collapse.